The contemporary artist that I would like to discuss today is Njideka Akunyili Crosby. I find her interesting because of how she communicates the immigrant experience, in America especially, so I will analyze a few of her works in regard to this topic. Crosby is a Nigerian-born artist who emigrated to the US to begin her studies, which traversed a number of American universities. So most of her work reflects this, her life experiences as an immigrant. They show concern for her personal struggles with identity and fitting in as she occupies two separate cultural worlds. The painting I chose to open this presentation with is titled "And We Begin to Let Go." I believe this displays a lot of Crosby's hallmarks as an artist, one of which is the personal or private nature of her chosen scenes. For instance, this painting shows a presumably intimate or even secretive moment between two individuals. The scenarios or spaces she chooses to paint do a great deal in communicating that her message is quite personal. She also tends to have herself stand out in a lot of her paintings, either by being the only person depicted or, as in this painting, giving the other figures a sense of ambiguity through clever cover-ups or a comparative lack of detail. This being said, even though her paintings have a very personal focus, Crosby still succeeds in communicating the immigrant experiences as a whole, which I will analyze more in the next two pieces. Perhaps the most captivating artistic practice of Crosby's is the use of transferred collage in the background. This gives her painting an added dimension, as these background images have meanings of their own. These images, Crosby says, range from her own family photos to cutouts from Nigerian fashion magazines. They reference her experience as well as her home country's complex history and post-colonial culture. The next painting I chose is called Nwantiti. I believe I pronounced that right. This depicts Crosby herself in an intimate moment with her husband. From an ideological perspective, I think this painting does an outstanding job of showing how the artist reconciles with the different underlying ideas in the two cultures she resides in. That is, marrying a white American could be seen as her rejecting her Nigerian culture. Similarly, the prominence of racism in American society sheds a negative light on the relationship here as well. But Crosby embraces this cross-cultural connection. She shows that she can love both. You can see this in her painting as she looks lovingly down at her husband, and the background is bathed in images from her Nigerian ancestry. The last painting is titled Mama, Mummy, and Mama, which really harkens back to her heritage. I chose this painting because it shows how Crosby uses iconography. The contents of her paintings hold a lot of meaning. In a few of them, including this one, Crosby paints a table from her grandmother's home. The contents on the table include kitchenware, which is a common family hand-me-down, and a gas lamp, which could refer to her grandmother's village not having power. You can see that Crosby is holding on to her heritage, that it is important for her, which is where Crosby succeeds in encapsulating the immigrant experience. You can see that Crosby's face in the painting is contemplative or reflective. She has to navigate her personal identity in a way that non-immigrant individuals never consider, which consists of how much she wants to hold on to her old culture or dive into her new one and where she stands in between these two worlds.